Condemnation really from around the world after U.S. President Donald Trump's comments about taking over the Gaza Strip.
As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs.
Top officials from Turkey, Iran, and the UK, just a few of those who have criticized that plan this morning. Joining us with more is CTV News military expert, retired Major General David Fraser. It was quite an image to see Donald Trump make that announcement, standing beside Netanyahu yesterday. Trump's comments signal this major shift away from this two-state solution that the U.S. has long supported. When we consider the conditions on the ground in Gaza, the resilience of the people who have survived this conflict so far, what concerns through a military lens do you have when you hear of this notion?
Well, I think the biggest concern, putting aside the legal issues and the logistics, is you've now solidified the Middle East against the United States. Where are you going to send 2 million people? And if Israel's objective was to destroy Hamas, well, you've now created a lot of fighters that are going to fight Israel and now going to fight the United States for the statements of what the president has just said. All the neighboring countries are now going to be very solidified against in the opposition of what the United States is going to do. And we're just emboldening all the terrorist groups and giving them the reason why they're fighting the United States in the West. So, I mean, this is a great political concern. It's going to turn into, unfortunately, action against innocent civilians just because, we have a developer that wants to look at developing some property in the Middle East, which is completely ridiculous.
The UN Environmental Program estimates it could take up to 21 years just to clear the debris and the explosive remnants left over from the war. That's more than 5 U.S. election cycles. What does the U.S. gain by taking on redevelopment effort of that scale? And what do they want with this region? Keeping in mind that last year, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, said Gaza's waterfront property, is how he described it, could be very valuable. What do they want in this region?
Well, I don't think anybody understands that, and probably even the president understands that, because he doesn't have a strategy. What he has is a transaction. He wants to go build buildings, and he's seen a piece of property that, he thinks in his own mind is pretty expensive and can be, developed. But, the point is, it's not tied to any strategy. It's not tied to any understanding of the complexities of the cultures over there. And whether or not it's a bargaining negotiation tactic or not, the second and third orders of effect, putting that aside, are just indescribable. That he has now set the region against the United States. He's set the world against the United States. And it's got nothing now to do with, how many bulldozers can you put in there and to do what is necessary. And it's going to be necessary to rebuild Gaza, but not for the purposes that Trump is asking for.
This is a region where the conflict has always been about the land, who has the right to it, who was moved out of it. How would American ownership possibly make that situation better?
It won't make it better. It makes it, they've made it worse because he's just taken, where do you put the people who live there, who grew up there, who have a, legal right to be there? He's just completely dismissed them and pushed them aside and not even talked about, where are they going to go? And not, this is about sovereignty, the sovereignty of Egypt, the sovereignty of Jordan, the sovereignty of the people that were living there, even Israelis themselves. He's completely ignored all those issues instead of, just talking about a development. I mean, this is much, much bigger than what he's talking about. And it's going to blow. It's blown up in his face, and there's no way he's going to achieve any of this. In fact, it'll be interesting to see what the Republican Party says about this.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that he's referring to the Palestinian people like they're refugees. These are people who are in their homeland, want to stay in their homeland, and want to rebuild what was destroyed through this conflict. CTV News military expert, retired Major General David Fraser, thank you.
Thank you.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.